There are several different ways to rotoscope. The first we've seen is using a mask shape and moving frame by frame or groups of frames to create a mask shape around the selected image. However, we can also rotoscope using the paint tools, either inside After Effects or outside After Effects in an application such as Photoshop. We'll go back to our first composition, number 1 intro, to see our guitar player once again. Next, we want to export so we can rotoscope him in a separate application. We could simply create a new movie by using Control-M or Command-M on a Mac, and we could create a movie to import into Photoshop. If we hit Save, going to bring up the render queue, and by hovering over it with your cursor, then using the tilde key, you'll bring this up to full screen. Under the output module, you see that we have a lossless value for our format for the video. Rather than choosing video for Windows or QuickTime, we can navigate down and choose a film strip. Film strip will allow an artist that doesn't have Photoshop CS3 to work on the individual frames in a sequence. With film strip selected, I'll go down and select OK, then render it out. This will even allow artists who have versions of Photoshop that are earlier than CS3 to work on a series of frames. We'll open up the output module to locate the file that was just created. Clicking on this document path here will open up the folder. Notice this is an FLM file, a film strip. Clicking on this document path here will navigate to where the file is located. Now all we'll have to do is open up Photoshop. Then we'll use Control-O or Command-O on a Mac to open up the document. Then navigate to where your After Effects project rendered your film strip file. When you open the file, you'll find that After Effects has created a single Photoshop layer, and within that Photoshop layer are several frames all within one layer. Let's take a closer look by using the magnification tool and zooming in on a few frames. We'll open this window so we can see them a little better. Here we can see the reference data that After Effects has placed on our Photoshop document. On the left side of the frame, we see timecode, and on the right-hand side, we see a frame count. We don't want to cover any of this information up, as After Effects will need to read it in order to create a sequence. However, now that we are in Photoshop, we can use all of the natural brushes and any of the Photoshop brushes in order to change the image inside of the frame. Once our modifications are made, we'll simply create a nice black X on this frame to know that we've modified it, then save it. We'll return to After Effects, then use the tilde key to close down this window. Under Projects, we'll import that file, then navigate to where that film strip was saved from Photoshop, then open it, then hit OK to import it into the project. By double-clicking on it, you can see that we now have a movie made up of all of those frames that may have been modified inside of our Photoshop document. We can also see the Photoshop modification that we made inside this sequence, even though the sequence of frames is only a single Photoshop document. Now, armed with all of these keying, rotoscoping, and even some painting tools that you can use inside of Photoshop, you can isolate anything you want inside of a layer fairly painlessly and allow yourself more range to composite with all of the other tools available inside of After Effects.